We continue our Rambler Insider Series presented by NovaCare. I'm Sam Levitt, and joining me today is Ramblers men's golf head coach, Erik Hoops. Erik, first and foremost, hope you and your family are doing well and are healthy. What has this past month and a half been like for you?
It's been interesting for sure, and I was telling my wife, when this kind of all started, it's, my entire year kind of ramps up to these 2 months, the months of March and April leading into our conference tournament. And so it was kind of a weird time for, the plug to be pulled, and have us literally come back from a tournament and 2 days later telling everyone to go home. It was pretty shocking and kind of hit us all in a really weird spot. But yeah, all the guys were able to get back home safely. I was able actually to get out of the city of Chicago a little bit. I'm at my parents' house in Northwest Ohio. It's kind of comical that I spent my 30th birthday in the bedroom that I grew up in. Yeah, it's been nice being over here, having a little bit more living space and having a yard for the dog. And my wife has been actually almost busier during the last 2 months with her job. So it's been nice kind of having some extra living space over here. We love Chicago. We love our apartment that's honestly right next to campus, but it's tough sometimes when you're stuck inside a 1,000 square foot apartment every day. So it's been nice to be out a little bit, out amongst doing some other stuff.
But I'm just curious, during this time where you are running your program from afar and you're communicating with your student athletes from afar, how has that been going? How have you been managing?
Yeah, it's been going great, honestly. We haven't really talked a whole lot of golf in the last 2 months. It's almost kind of a sore subject to kind of bring up, so we've been just kind of more focusing on getting our academics squared away, making sure that we end the semester, on a high note, especially this past week with finals going on. I've kind of left the guys on their own to get ready and get prepared and finish off the semester well. But, over the last month, we've been doing just one-on-one meetings. And like I said, quite frankly, we really haven't been talking about golf. We've been talking about life. We've been talking about, our families. We've been talking about academics. And we have a team meeting that we do once every week that I just kind of update them on any new information that we have. We started doing kind of a team trivia every single week where whoever wins is kind of Alex Trebek for the next week and everything. So just a way to continue to kind of build together as a team and get to know one another.
Curious about these trivia nights. How do those go? What are the topics?
It's been fun. Like, obviously, like, we've been keeping them engaged, but it really just helps us get that competitive edge out of each other, a little bit. Say what you want as golfers and as all athletes, we're searching for ways to continue to compete and challenge one another and stuff. And so my first week, I hosted the first week. We did a Loyola one. Someone did a Masters one during the Masters week. Someone just did a general sports trivia with just a whole bunch of random facts and everything. And so we got another one coming up this next week. Justin, my senior, he won trivia this past week. So he's Alex Trebek on Monday night.
I know Loyola is a very special place to you. You graduated from Loyola in 2012. I know this has been a huge honor for you getting to coach back at Loyola and back in Rogers Park. Where would you say heading into the summer, the fall, where would you say the program is at?
I think that we are in a position where we really can and should be, one of the top teams in the Missouri Valley Conference. We just, over the past, 3 years, just the amount that our team has improved from, being kind of a bottom dweller team in the Missouri Valley Conference to now all of a sudden this year, coming off the fall, we had one of our best falls in school history. We're ranked as high as we ever were as a program. We're only behind one other school in the Missouri Valley Conference right now. We're kind of the second rate team, number 2 team right there. So I don't think that there's any stretch beyond our imagination that wouldn't have us competing for a conference championship, hopefully in the next couple years, and just continuing to challenge ourselves week in and week out to hopefully bring home more trophies and have more wins throughout the year. But I would say our program is just about as strong as it's ever been this past year. Even in a shortened season, we were able to break quite a few school records that, hadn't been touched for, back when I was eligible, when I was playing on the team in the, late 2000s, early 2010s. And so, yeah, it's just been cool to kind of see the way the program has changed just from where I left it to where it is, kind of right now.
You mentioned the great start your team had in September, the Zach Johnson Invitational, a first place finish. What do you think that said early on about your group this season?
It was able to, I'm trying to think of the right word, kind of like solidify the belief that we have in ourselves that we can compete and win, tournaments week in and week out. And, coming into that tournament, it was our third one of the year. We had finished top 5 in the first 2. And as a coach, I can kind of see the scores on my phone, but I try not to let them, know where they're at. But just to feel the adrenaline, to feel the rush that was going through me, I can only imagine what was going through them. And to be able to pull off golf shots and be able to make birdies and be able to make putts when you need to, when you're feeling all that pressure, that's what really proves that your team kind of belongs out there at that level. And once you get a feeling of that, you always want to bring it back.
You mentioned some of the talent your team has, some of the recruits you have coming in as well. One player that had almost a bit of a surprising season was Nate Vance, not somebody that was very highly recruited, but really had a tremendous year, set a program record for single season stroke average. Your thoughts about Nate Vance's season and what he accomplished?
Yeah, Nate has been phenomenal, and he's been the exact kind of way that I've been able to kind of show recruits of what you cannot really replace experiencing competition and getting out and playing, right away your freshman year. Nate had an amazing opportunity to come and play for me, and he stepped in and started playing in the lineup kind of right away his freshman year. So he started to feel that pressure. He started to feel what it was like to be out there on the road with the team and kind of managing and balancing everything. And, he said after his freshman year, and I asked him, kind of how he felt about his freshman year. He said, I thought it was great, like that I've got to learn so much. And so he went out in the summer and just worked his tail off and really dissected his game and saw, hey, here are the spots that I need to get a lot better at to compete at this level.
Yeah, as we talk with some of the different head coaches during these Rambler Insider conversations presented by NovaCare, one thing that we keep going back to is the campus, the facilities, and all the benefits that the Ramblers have for student athletes as they come into the programs. You mentioned that transition for somebody like Nate Vance, going from high school to college and all the different elements that come along with that. You do have some older players in your program, one of them being Devin Johnson, local kid from Geneva. He'll be a senior next year. Obviously, those players are so important for the development, for the fluidity of a program. Your thoughts about Devin's season and what he's brought to the program as a whole?
Yeah, Devin has stepped in from day one and been one of our strongest players on the roster. And I knew that he was going to be that way, just watching him, growing up and everything. Again, a multi-sport athlete, an absolute competitor, a competitive edge that I absolutely loved about him. And him along with his other classmates, those 4 seniors, that was kind of my first recruiting class. And at that point, our program was not much of a sell. We were near the bottom of the conference, finishing low week in and week out. And I just kind of told them hey, like let's strap on our boots and let's get to work and let's see this team, improve. And Devin's always been the one that's been kind of on top of that class and has been consistently, one of our top couple players. Devin's always pushing himself to get that much better and that much stronger year in and year out.
One tough thing about this time, now looking back on it, is actually this week, Loyola was supposed to host the Missouri Valley Conference tournament on the men's golf side of things in Flossmoor, Illinois. Just curious, when you look at opportunities like that to have events close to campus and host those types of events, why are those important for the program?
Yeah, and it's in golf, a lot is maybe a little bit more different from some of the other sports. You have, your home fan base when you get to host, or when like men's soccer had it, this past fall, right. Or, when you have that home field advantage with just your fans. In golf, it can be a total home field advantage because of the golf course, and it's, right. It can massively change greatly from, the style of golf that we play, throughout the year. When you look at, Portachima, where we had it last year, it's a big resort type of course that's got big, wide fairways and huge greens and everything, and sets up maybe better for a certain type of golfer. Whereas Flossmoor is the more old style country club. Greens are a little smaller, have a little bit more slope to them and everything. And it's very similar to the golf courses that we practice on every single day. Control what you can control, and unfortunately something happened that was way out of our control, and so it cut our season short. And then we started talking, and some of the guys were getting emotional, and I just said, we talk all the time on our team about our goals for the season and our goals for each other individually and as a team. And it's one thing to not live up to those goals. It's another thing to not even having a chance to achieve those goals. So that was, like I said, that's been the hard part and the sad part of the last 2 months. But I think we've kind of finally recovered and stopped licking our wounds and everything. And like I said, with everyone being able to get back out and play golf a little bit starting this next week, I think that we'll be in a much better spot, and we'll be back to business as normal.
I'm going to throw you a curveball before I let you go, because you talk about goals, and one thing that always surprises people about me as somebody who works in baseball and in sports is that I've never played a round of golf in my life. But I'm telling you, I want to change that when we can get back out there and we get things back to normal. So my question, Erik, how do I get started?
It's pretty easy. Just find a set of clubs, hop out there and play. Don't don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't keep score. Move your ball back into the fairway. Don't hit it out of bunkers if you don't feel like it. My wife was never a golfer growing up or anything, and just over the past 2-3 years has really started to get into it. There's been it's been a pretty standard Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If we're kind of free, we'll hop up into Evanston. There's a small little municipal golf course up there that's it's pretty much like walking through a park, but hitting golf shots while you're out there. She has an absolute blast and just slowly learns, little things every single day. She still has never kept score. She almost never holes all the way out. It's flag it or tap it, and once it's close enough to the wall, okay, I'm done, or whatever. But it's amazing. It's a ton of fun for us. We can bring our dog, and it doesn't take too long overall. And so there's that, but then also you can take the other route, go try Top Golf sometime, go to a driving range and just pick it up and see if you like it. And so like I said, I think it's one of the safer sports that you can play right now, in my opinion. So I think we're going to actually see a pretty big uptick in golf this upcoming summer, because people just want to get out there and do stuff.
Well, everybody always says to me it's a social skill I should have, at least learning very basically how to play golf. So that's one of my goals coming up.
One of the few sports you can play till you're 80. So
yes, absolutely. It's a good thing to have in your back pocket. Erik, we appreciate the time. Best of luck with everything coming up over the coming weeks and months. Stay safe, stay healthy. All the best to you and your family, and hopefully we'll talk to you again down the road.
Thank you so much, Sam. Appreciate all the time.